you with the rebels?" the man asked. "No," Uncle answered. "Where have you come from? Where are you going?" "We come from the west of the Nile," Uncle said. "We are going to Atang, to the refugee camp." The men told Uncle to get up and leave his gun where it was. Two of the other men took Uncle to a tree several yards away and tied him to it. Then the men moved among the group. If anyone was carrying a bag, the men opened it and took whatever was in it. They ordered some people to remove their clothing and took that too. Salvo was trembling. Even in the midst of his fear, he realized that for the first time on the trip, it was a good thing to be the youngest and smallest. The men would not be interested in his clothes. When the men had finished their looting, they picked up Uncle's gun. Then they walked to the tree where Uncle was tied up. "Maybe they will leave us alone now that they have robbed us," Salvo thought. He heard them laughing. As Salvo watched, one of the men aimed his gun at Uncle. 3 shots rang out. Then the men ran away. I chose this section of A Long Walk to Water because it best represented the book's theme, which I believe is hard work and perseverance, because the entire book is about persevering through Sudan to make it to a refugee camp. When Salvo's uncle was murdered, he did not give up on making his way to a refugee camp in Ethiopia. With the occurrence of his uncle's death, Salvo wanted to make his way to safety even more. Not knowing whether or not his family was still alive, Salvo kept pushing to make it to the refugee camp. The reason I paused in between paragraphs was to emphasize the sadness of the section that I read when his uncle was taken by the army to be shot and killed. I tried putting myself in Salvo's shoes at the time in the book because when he lost his uncle, he thought he had no family left and that he would live the rest of his life alone. But he did not stop thinking about there being a chance that he could still have family around the world. While persevering through pain and sadness, Salvo made his way to New York, where he found out his father was still alive in Sudan.